Duke's the scoop, baby. What's going on, man? How we living?
JD, what's going on, man?
Brother, we're doing good over here, man. I'm scrolling through my YouTube feed, and I see you dropped a video on the On The Recruits channel. And we got Dr. Dukes handing out a prescription for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And in short order, I think Kalen DeBoer probably saw that, took notes, got the prescription, and they've been on a heater right now. I mean, landed one of the top athletes in 2025. Talk the people through your prescription, just so we're on the same page here, of how Alabama and Kalen DeBoer can keep this hot streak going.
Well, the first part of my prescription was to not lean away or shy away from the Alabama standard. A lot of times when you have guys that come into new situations, the first thing they want to do is say, hey, we're going to do it a new way. It's my way or the highway. They want to establish dominance in a way that could turn some people off. Well, I think Kalen DeBoer has done a really good job of leaning into Nick Saban's legacy and figuring out how can he add on to it or how can he do things differently, but still keep people engaged. I think one of the best things that he did was the fourth quarter workouts, where there was something that was a staple of the Alabama program early on. But by being able to say, hey, look, you know what? We're not just going to say we're the new Bama, or we're not just going to say this is Kalen DeBoer's way or the highway. We're going to take the things that work to make this such a powerhouse program and kind of add to it and add his own flavor to it. And I think already it's been working super well for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
And it seems like even from spring practice, like you hear the buzz, hey, media's got more access. They're playing music during spring practice, which is like a new thing in Tuscaloosa. I mean, like, are recruits seeing that? And is that something that you think is making an impact? Hey, there's a new energy, there's new juice in Tuscaloosa right now with the staff?
Yeah, absolutely. The way that recruiting is being approached is the same aggression, but I think that there's more of a, I wouldn't say friendly, but it's more, it's still a lot of football, but it's more relatable. If I could say, if I were to put it in one word, I think the recruiting approach is a little more relatable, and the approach to football as well. When you talk about guys and how much connectivity there is between classes, you got a guy like Quay Russaw, who was a 5-star 2 years ago. Zion Grady's on his visit, a former Alabama commit who decommitted after Nick Saban left, and the person that he talked to on this visit was Quay Russaw. And me knowing Quay Russaw and knowing Zion, I know what they're saying. Hey, it's still football, but man, it's a little bit different. And it's not a bad different. It's a different where it feels like, yeah, this is a business, but we can enjoy it as well. And I think that's going to bode very well for Bama going forward.
I thought one of the most interesting parts of your prescription that you gave to the Alabama Crimson Tide was how they recruit in relation to the logo. Walk the people through that, because I think that made a lot of sense to me, and I think the people would be better for hearing Dr. Dukes and his take on that.
Well, when it comes to the logo, you have some coaches or recruiting staff members who they recruit aside from the logo, where it's, you know what, come to the school because of me. We have this great relationship. Come because of me and not the logo. Wherever I go, I want you to come with me. And then you got guys who recruit behind the logo, where it's, hey, this is Alabama. Don't worry about what I say. Don't worry about if I called you on Thanksgiving. Don't worry about any of that. Just worry about playing football at Alabama. And then you have guys who can blend both. And I think that my prescription for Alabama was to not just recruit aside the logo, behind the logo as well, but also recruit to the standard that Alabama has already set forth. So if you can recruit at the same pace that Alabama has with this new sort of energy, where it's a little more friendly, assistant coaches now have media access, where guys have more of a voice, and it's not just like the iron fist of Nick Saban, which was a diamond littered fist, so to speak, because of all the rings that he has, but it was still a heavy fist. So by being able to recruit with that more with lighter intention, so to speak, when it comes to how we deal with each other, I think that's going to bode very well. And by being able to still recruit to the standard and the logo, now the logo just gets bigger and brighter going forward.
Now, Dukes, here's my thought around Alabama. Like, I love that Kalen DeBoer is having some success. I love the momentum. But my question mark is still like, okay, even if you're in the top 10 in the class rankings come signing day, like that might not be good enough, feels like the wrong phrase to use, but that might not be up to par for what Alabama's come to expect. Like, Alabama's been Alabama because they've been in that top 3 pretty much routinely every single year. They got a timeshare out there in that top 3 of the recruiting class rankings. Does it need to be top 3 for Kalen DeBoer to be successful? Or is it like, hey, we can be top 10 because Kalen DeBoer is such an effective coach and they're going to find a way to get it done regardless?
No, I think the standard is the standard. So I think top five. I'll meet you in the middle. Top five is about the lowest you can go at Alabama. Like, um, you don't continuously and repeatedly win national championships with top 10 classes. You win them with top five classes. You can litter in the top 10 class every now and then, but even in those top 10 classes, you have to have really exceptional players. Like your 3 stars have to be exceptional. Like when I notice the top teams, when they take 3-star guys, they're usually 6'6", 330 pounds, or they're a 4'3". They may be a smaller guy who runs a 4'3". You're not taking gambles on guys who don't have exceptional traits, and I think that's the way Alabama has always been able to recruit. If you saw them take a 3-star, it was a 3-star guy who either had A, phenomenal film, who was undersized, B, phenomenal film, who was oversized, or 3, bad film with the super athletic prospect. So I think when you think about those things and how you're able to balance out those easily like easily identifiable top guys with guys who can add certain things to it, they'll be fine. But yeah, I think if Kalen DeBoer gets a top 10 class, if he's outside of that top 5, it's going to be smoke in the city. He's going to hear about it.
It's just crazy because Kalen DeBoer is a guy that, you hear so much about. Hey, he's always done more with less. It's kind of that buzz phrase, not buzzword, but buzz phrase. I'm curious if it's going to be, okay, well, can he do more with more? Because I think he's going to have more than he's ever had on that roster in Tuscaloosa. Last question for you here, Dukes. Courtney Morgan is a name that I don't think a lot of college football fans know just yet. I think they need to know about him, the GM at Alabama coming over from Washington. How big of an impact is he having right now in the recruitment of some of these guys that are choosing Tuscaloosa or maybe visiting Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, I think from what I'm hearing, it's huge. He's one of the guys that when you get on campus, he's the type of guy that when you see him, he makes a certain impact, the way he carries himself and the way that he can relate to people. So when I was in operations, there was something that I always said in my resumes that impressed people was being able to effectively communicate upward and downward in the chain of command. And I think that's something that Courtney Morgan has in spades. He can go talk to any kid from any walk of life, any parent from any walk of life, and the guys in the boardrooms who are able to say, hey, the athletic director, or when feedback is needed, he's that type of guy who can speak effectively and communicate across the board. Well, that is something, it's like a natural resource that you can't get everywhere that he has that is really going to continue to make an impact in recruiting. Because if you got a guy from, for example, let's say Hoboken, Alabama, nobody's ever heard of it, okay? And this guy's from the West Coast. Being able to be relatable and talk about his experiences from Michigan to Washington to the city of LA is going to be something that will endear that player to that type of guy and can allow him to put that kind of like that embrace around him, where you may have somebody who may be a little more socially awkward, but when he embraces him, it comes with the Alabama A. And I think that's super important.
Man. Duke's the scoop, baby. Bringing the juice here on this beautiful Wednesday, man. What can the people expect coming on the 5-star flex over on the On3 Recruits channel, man? What you got cooking?
So right now, on 3 Recruits, we've got Allen Henderson with a very in-depth interview. Super impressive young man, a 4-star from Elba, Alabama. Then we've got Ryan Montgomery, a 4-star quarterback recruit from Findlay, Ohio. He'll be on Friday. And I've got another Dr. Dukes I'm cooking up, and it may be a few other teams in the SEC West. So, hey, just excited about having the opportunity to work with guys like yourself, and super juiced to be on 3.
Hey, schools across the country, check your insurance. Make sure you're good for the prescription for Dr. Dukes, okay? Get dialed in. Dukes, appreciate you, man. Thanks for jumping on, brother.
Always, JD, for sure.
Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.